morning. You guys, I sound like I'm dying. It's congestion. I'm over it though. So I wanted to start something new. Y'all have to bear with me. I was HE double hockey stick bent on being here and doing this with you. I usually don't go live or anything on Sundays, but I kind of felt like I needed to. So y'all get me incomplete raw hair wash day, by the way. So I want to talk to you today about wealth, and not money focused. This is more about our soul, our physical well-being, and just where we're at in life and how we view it. So a lot of people focus on right where they are, and they see that as their wealth, and that's not always true. They think the more they focus on, if you're a new Christian, for example, for me, when I first was learning about God and, paying that faith forward and everything, I felt like the more I did, the more He was going to bring my way, which is not always the case. He wants us more to step out into what we're called to do and find prosperity within ourselves, more so than in material things. So let me give you a few examples. Positive thinking versus negative thinking, wholeness versus brokenness, light versus the darkness, a victor versus a victim. I could go on and on, but He really wants us to just start to love who we are and where we're at. And when we do that, we start to see things in a bigger perspective. We start to see things that we never imagined possible. I'm living proof. I used to be so closed-minded and so stuck in that negative realm that I didn't think my life could go anywhere, and I didn't think I could change anything, and I didn't think that everything that I wanted in my heart could be called out into what I needed, or to be put out where I needed, if that makes sense, to be given what I wanted, I guess. In the last, let's just say ever since my son was born, I've lived in 4 different houses, and that's a short window to be moving a lot. And I was very bitter about it, and I was very angry about it. So, for example, we sold our home and moved in with my father-in-law because we were $1,000 in the hole every month, and we had to make some big changes. And I was grateful at first. But as 1 year turned into 3 years, I became very bitter and angry. And so finally we decided to move into a rent house. And we did that. And I was very grateful at first. And then I became very bitter and angry because here I am, 32, and wanting what, I thought was the, wealth, or what at my age I thought I needed. So, we lived there for a short time, and then we finally got most of our debt paid off, and we were able to buy a home that was beautiful, and I loved it, but I thought was going to be our ideal home. And so we moved into it, and I was very happy at first. And this is about the time that my husband and I really started to hit rock bottom. We really didn't like each other, and that our relationship grew further and further apart. And I was really bitter then, and I was doing a lot of wrong things in life, because I was seeking wealth, as in, I was reading my Bible every morning, but I wasn't diving into it. I wasn't absorbing. I wasn't processing what God was teaching me. Good morning, Tina. How are you? I hope you can hear me. I'm struggling with some head cold congestion. But, so even though that I was trying to read daily and be in the Word, I wasn't taking in everything that He was speaking to me. And in fact, I was doing just the opposite. And I led myself to believe that because I was reading the Word and sometimes still going to church, that He was going to bless me on all these wrong things, which is so not true. Until finally you just hit a point. So from that home, we sold it, which what we thought was going to be our dream home, and moved here where we are now, which is a rent house also. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but when you live in a small town, and I'm going to say a population of like 5, kidding, but exaggeration, the schools will give you what they call a schoolhouse. Not give you, but you pay a rent. It's a very low-key rent. But they help the teachers out because their salaries are not as high or whatever as what most schools were. And plus, we're in Oklahoma. So we moved into this schoolhouse, and we knew, because this was also the time that my husband and I started to mend our relationship. And we knew we had to make some big changes again. And so, yeah, I just lost my train of thought. Anyways, we knew we were only going to be here a short time. We didn't know if it was going to be a year to 3 years. Thank you, Jesus, because we have changed our perspective, changed our mind, changed the way we look at life, changed how we talk to each other, changed how we view what God has put before us. God has blessed us, and we are actually almost done building a home on our land out in the country. Jesus, thank you. And I'm so grateful for this. I live in town right now, right in the middle of a neighborhood in a little small craftsman style home. I'm very grateful for it, but I'm so thankful to be back out in the country to where I feel just at peace and I love, and I can go out and sit and just listen and watch and do. And so my point behind all this, you guys, is when you really appreciate who you are and right where you're at and what is God giving you, and you use it wisely, that's when things start to grow. That's when things start to change. That's when you start to see what God can really do for you and in your life. Also, I was in a network marketing company, and I started it back in 2015 because I knew we needed income. And right out of the gate, this was all God. I know this now. I see the bigger picture, hindsight. God let me make a nice chunk of money. And then about a year in, he started to let things crumble because I was doing it all wrong. And I wasn't honoring him, and I wasn't honoring my husband and my family. And so he let it crumble. And I couldn't figure out why. And this kind of leads all up into these years. This is when I was still living at my father-in-law's. And then so right when we got to this house, right about the time, I kind of quit it all because I felt like God was telling me I needed to, and that was the direction he wanted me to go. Was I happy about it? No, but I was in that phase of honoring and listening to what God, and appreciating right where I was at, even though I felt like we still needed that income on my part because I do get to stay home with my children, my son soon, my daughter. I just felt like that's what God wanted of me. And then because I was honoring that, and because I was being fruitful with what I had, God opened an even bigger door and has blessed me even so much more. So I want you guys to take away from this, just really learn to appreciate who you are and right where you're at. Even though you might feel you're at rock bottom, and you probably are. I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying if you are. Just look at that and find a way to start to climb yourself out, to find a way to take that step forward to appreciating what you have. It's very hard, I know. I was there. I was living in a rent home, or in a huge home, in a beautiful home, a log cabin that I should have been grateful for, but I wasn't, and I didn't appreciate it, and I didn't treat it like a home, and I didn't treat my husband with respect, and so it doesn't matter if you think you have the money you need. Money isn't everything. Money can do a lot, though, but money isn't what's going to make your heart joyful and give you that peace of mind. So I really hope this touches your heart and can pull something out of you to put you in that right direction and that right perspective for wealth. So I thank you guys for watching, and I bless each and every one of you, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.